Okay, so in today's lecture, we are going to start a new point that is about solubility of the solids. What the solids are some particles. Solids are something in which there is least space present between their particles. They have limited access of movement. They would only like to vibrate at particular place. They are not going to leave the area at which they were present. Now, when a solid dissolves in a liquid, when it is simply changing its state of matter, when a solid dissolves in a liquid, two to three phenomena are observed to be seen. So the first thing first is that a solid might composed of two type of substances. First one is solvent, other would be solute. General definition is the thing who is going to dissolve smaller quantity or minute quantity of something into it is called as solvent, and the thing which is being dissolved is called as solute. So the substance that dissolves is called as solute. The substance who is present in excessive quantity or who is being able to dissolve something which was present in the minute quantity is called as solvent. Together, solute plus solvent will create a new thing that is called as solution. On a random way, we can say that if we take water, let's say we're going to take 2 glass of water. Water is called as universal solvent, and when we take a spoon of sugar and we keep on dissolving them into each other, this is called as solute. So simply that is the example of solute and solvent, and when we mix up sugar and water together, this is called as solution. So when you make up a solution, the attractive forces between the particles in the solute, which was solid generally, they are broken down. Why? Because they are going to be dissolved in the solvent. At the same time, the new attractive forces are being formed between the solvent particles and the solute particles. What we learned so far is that when solid or a solute is dissolved into solvent, the previous or the old forces are going to be broken down. The old forces of attraction are going to be minimized or they are going to get broken down. And the new forces of attraction are going to be created. The new forces of attraction which are being produced or made, they are called as, they are created between solute particles and solvent particles. Whether a particular solid is soluble in any solvent, if it is present in any solvent, this is the general rule. What they're saying is that upon which factor it depends, upon which factor the solubility depends on, it's simply whether the new attractive forces are stronger enough to create the or to break the older one. It is just like when you're shifting seats in your classroom. Are you like you're sitting with a person and he's really annoying and all that. Now, is that the new benchmate you are going to sit on with is really a good guy, is something who is going to attract you, is someone who is going to support you in doing your task. So it is the same way upon this phenomena. It depends like how things are going to make bonding with each other. So what we learned so far is that new attractive forces should be stronger enough to overcome the older attractive forces. Okay, next thing is only a certain amount of solute will dissolve in a fixed percentage. As soon as it crosses a certain limit, nothing will be soluble without being providing a particular temperature. What is it? When the maximum amount is dissolved, when a maximum amount of solute is dissolved in a solvent. Let's say I took a half glass of water and I have dissolved 4 spoons of sugar into it. Then I add 4 more spoons. Okay, it dissolved it. Now after a certain point, it would reach a point like it would be unable to dissolve any solute into it. Basically, this would be called as saturated or limit of any solvent to dissolve solute into it. So what is it? When a maximum amount of a solute is dissolved into solvent is called as a saturation point. The saturation point, after that point, you either have to change the concentration or you have to provide the or you have to provide temperature to the solution to make the solubility possible. So basically a saturated solution is, what a saturated solution is, it is the one which contain as much as dissolved solid as possible at a particular temperature. After that point, it would left over with something unsoluble. Okay, so we can say that after crossing a certain limit, no solute will be able to got soluble into solvent. We have to change certain conditions, we have to change certain limits to, I mean, like either we have to add like amount of solvent, or either we have to provide or increase the temperature. And while at that fixed temperature, that fixed concentration, nothing is going to be soluble. So at that particular point, we can say that it has just reached its saturated conditions, and now the solution is being saturated solution, because at that particular conditions, the solution is unable to dissolve anything into it. It has lost its ability to add more solvent in solute into the solvent. Now we can say that why new attractive forces are being made. Let's say you are provided with something which is called as common table salt, which is basically NaCl, and when once it is allowed to react, or when we are trying to make this thing soluble in water, how is it going to pass through this activity? Simply, when we shake up the spoon, it will provide them with a few charges. So basically, that sodium will got attracted towards oxygen. I mean, they will make the oxygen is known as something called as electronegative. When something is electronegative, it will attract positively charged atoms, especially metals, towards it. Now, this forces, I mean, the bonding which was present between water and the bonding now these two are creating between each other are stronger than that of the present with the water. So water was having weak forces of attraction towards it. But as soon as sodium came into water, oxygen got more attracted towards the sodium, and they will create NaO. So the older bonds were weaker, were having weaker forces of attraction. The new bond are having stronger forces of attraction between them, as well as the chlorine will attract this hydrogen more strongly. So now you can see that older bonds are being broken and newer bonds are created as well. So simply the now we can say that the new forces of attraction are stronger than that of the older forces of attraction. That is how this attraction is made possible, and these are going to get attracted towards each other.